Somewhere in this jungle, there's several hundred North Vietnamese soldiers who could wipe out this little American unit to the last man in an unguarded moment.
Okay. Okay.
All right, stop right here. Wait a minute. Stop right here. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Louder, louder, louder. Freedom. What do we want? I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. We are African, and we happen to be in America. We're not American. We are people who formerly were Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America. Our forefathers weren't the Pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us.
My fellow Americans, last week, 17 nations sent their views to some 24 countries having an interest in Southeast Asia. We are joining those 17 countries and stating our American policy tonight, which we believe will contribute toward peace in this area of the world.
But when you do get down to the drafted soldiers, it's supposed to be the draft is supposed to be random. It's supposed to, if we're going to take 300 members of this community, it's at random.
Yeah.
But in the South, where most African Americans lived still, since segregation was still in place for a good deal of this time, most of the draft boards were white. And when making the decision, all right, who am I going to take out of this community to fill the 300 spots I got to fill, they're going to take the people that they view to be most expendable.
Yeah.
Or people who might cause social trouble. People across the country, I mean, this also applies to whites who were on the political left. They were sure that they were getting picked out of society because they were causing trouble and being sent to Vietnam. African Americans in the South were sure of it too, and there's strong evidence to indicate that's the case. But African Americans has always served this country in a martial way in the military. Some African Americans had always formed a big part of the U.S. military from even before we were a country. They were in militia units and Boston Massacre. One of the first people killed was Crispus Attucks, a free African American. They fight in the Revolution. They fight in every war after the Revolution, because factors that a lot of folks say impact that is that African Americans were anxious to prove their patriotism. If they showed how patriotic they were, they showed what great American citizens they were and were willing to fight for this country, that America might, respond by giving them more rights. specifically the right to vote and the right to an equal education, things like that. And of course, sadly, that didn't happen.
Yeah, we fight to defend the water we drink, the land we grow our food on, and our way of culture. We also fight to protect Rockefeller's foundations. We fight to protect J.P. Kennedy's foundation, all these different kind of foundations that the black man can't partake of, you understand? And then we go back, we're continuously harassed. It's not necessary. This ain't what we heard, this is what we know.
It's early in the war. It's 1965, which is for a war that lasts for us to 1973. That's really early.
Yeah.
And he and his guys, he's in a unit called the 173rd Airborne. They're on a patrol, and in Vietnam, patrols were very difficult. The enemy might be there. The enemy might not be there. The enemy always has to drop on you. And it was pretty typical that they would fire some and then run away. And that's what the unit did to him, but it left behind a tossed hand grenade that he jumped on. And I mean, if you're talking about the most selfless thing you can do in the military, that's it. It's as selfless as you get. If you look up selfless in the dictionary, I ought to have his picture beside it.
Today, Troy is 67 years old. The Fayetteville resident is in a battle of his own. He's working with the government over whether these lesions on his chest and back developed as a result of Agent Orange.
I'm not envious of the young men and women. They came back heroes, and we did not.
You come back, you expect open arms. Oh, it was not true. They treated us like animals, and we come into the airport, and they was up on a ramp, and they threw feces on us, they threw beer on us, they threw beer cans at us. It was the worst homecoming that you can ever believe.
Having to work together with men who didn't share the same public places with you up until then was a new challenge for black soldiers. For Joseph, he said the war was a bridge of community.
When you're in a combat zone, baby, you don't give a darn whether the guy white, black, green, purple. You want to make sure this guy protects your life and you protect him. You lean on each other.
Family and friends gathered in Pickens to remember a veteran who died in the Vietnam War. His name Charles Johnson Jr. He was the first black soldier to die in that war, and he was posthumously awarded the Purple Heart.
After Vietnam, black men and women volunteered in large numbers, and African Americans were rising in the ranks. American female general in the U.S. Army. General Colin Powell's appointment as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff marked a high point in an extraordinary legacy of service.